my scrappy friends, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway. Today I am doing a technique video, and I thought let's just layer with some mixed media. This is just the background, and I am doing this because I'm inspired by our Facebook challenge for this month, which is layers. And layers are like my thing. So if you guys don't know me very well, layers are my thing. I absolutely love layers. So as you can see, I am just mass gessoing a whole bunch of pattern or cardstock, and I use just American Crafts the thick smooth cardstock. I'm trying to remember which gesso that is. I think that's like a heavy body gesso, and that is, I think that's the Prima one, if I'm not mistaken. And so here is some other gesso. This is the Liquitex gesso. I'm not as big of a fan of it. It has a lot of grit to it. So for a layout, it's not my fave, because especially when I want something a little bit more smooth. With that said, I am mixing this with that paint from the Crafty Maven, and this is one from March or April if you get the kit. And I'll make sure I have links in here so that you guys can see some of the kits, because we still have some stuff. I don't think we have any April kits left, but we might have some of the media from the kit. So if I do, I'll have the add-ons in there. And oh my gosh, my desk is like really going. So I am using that Prima paint, and it's a very fluid liquid acrylic, and I mixed it with the gesso because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, and I wanted to add something in, because I didn't know what I was going to do with these. So it kind of, you know, and I'm using just a like beauty sponge. Now I used a really crappy beauty sponge, and so especially when I went over it the second time. So as you can see, I did it the first time, and it's pretty light for what I want. And this is really thin paint, so you need to build it up to get a darker color if that's what you want. And that is definitely what I wanted. I didn't want it to be consistent though. So this is why I'm using the blender. Like I said, it's not my favorite way. I thought that this would just be a fun way to like play with it and see. Some of it I think was the blender. I got it from an Asian dollar store, and so it has more of a glossy outside. So I just don't think it just moved the media around quite a bit, and then it started like peeling on the soft side that was more absorbent. So take that with what you will. So I would use like a foam blender or something like that. I think that would probably work a lot better if you want, or even the little brushes that you can use with ink. You can use those with paint. You just probably want to clean it off, because any acrylic paint that you use. So this also is from the store. This is Prima heavy body paint, and it is heavy, but I also, once again, I added it with that Liquitex gesso. And so as you can see, this sponge with this heavy body one, I think it's the grit from the gesso. I would never do this again. I would use the smooth gesso, but I really do like how it turned out. And it's because it's not perfect. And this is the fun part about mixed media, is it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's part of that layering process. And this is why I wanted to show this and then show the rest of what I'm doing, because it is going to turn out to be something completely different than like what I even imagined. And I knew that like at the end. So as you can see, I was having a really hard time with that blender. So now this is it's the Tim Holtz, or like Ranger dauber, like inker thing. I don't even know, there's a word for it. But it's not the foam one that I was using. At first I was using, because there's one, the foam one, and then there is the like felt one. And I was using the felt one, and that turned out so much smoother. So, think about that. So as you can see, I have my papers, they're dry. I let these dry. Now they do warp a little bit. If you don't want like warping, you need to find a paper that is a lot heavier to stand up to that. Now I also know I want to use this wood grain. I love a good wood grain, and I knew it was going to pair really well. And so I'm just gonna start layering these, and they're not going to be like, it's not going to be perfect. So I'm just going to rip these. I want that ripped look. I kind of feel like it looks like the ocean as I'm coming. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to build my layers, and then I'm going to adhere them after, which I'm not sure if that's the way that that I would do it again if I was going to redo this, because it ended up not being the same, if that makes sense. Because once you go to have to take it up, when you go to put it back down, it doesn't fit the same way. But so some of the pieces I'm ripping, some of them I want the edges, because I'm just going to alternate between the teal or turquoise color to that purple color. And I really like how it's not perfect, and you see all those textures with the layers. And this is why I'm sharing this with the layered challenge. So I also will be doing a layout with that. I'll probably share that on my own personal channel, so be on the lookout for that. But I'll share it in the group. So if you're not a part of our Facebook group, you need to be, because it is a great place to get inspired, because that is what we're about at the Crafty Maven. We love to be inspired and to be part of the conversations that help inspire us and you. And we just talk about crafty things. We're kind of rearranging how the Crafty Maven group is now, so it's going to be a little more structured, so it's easier for you guys to have those conversations. But they're going to be there, and we have a new design team, and I'm super excited about that. So here I'm starting to re-put this back up, because I realize I need to start doing this. And so I'm going to use a combo of my ATG and a lot of foam dots. And I did that because I do want you to see each of the I want you to see the layers. I want there to be movement with the layers, which is partly why I rip it so that there's white edges, partly why I just use my trimmer to get more blunt edges, right? And I want some of the layers to just be really just sort of peeking out and out. See, as you can see, it's not working exactly. I knew at this point, and this is the part of the layering, sometimes it's a trial and error. You gotta fit it and see, does this work? If it doesn't, then you go back. Like, you don't have to worry about it being perfect, but you also, it's part of the playing process to see what looks right to you. So what looks right to you might not look right to me. And some of it is our styles, right? And you could totally do this with just pattern paper. You could pick like a really bold pattern and then like a really neutral pattern, right? And just layer the two patterns, and then maybe have a pattern down at the bottom. So this is not exclusive to just mixed media, but I love how this mixed media looked on here. It's just was a really fun way to just play with a background and play with the paints, and play like with a technique that haven't used too much. Like, I don't usually use daubers or like blend it. I don't usually blend the inks or the paints like that. It's usually an ink that I'm blending, right? So this is it's just a fun way to play. And so each of these layers, I'm putting it down, kind of relifting it up, and just trying to get bits of the colors to stick out, because I want that movement. I want it to not be perfect. And so I tried that blue, and I didn't like how that looks. I really like how that purple looks with the purple. And I am thinking about that, trying to make sure that some of the layers I'm having the purple underneath, or purple next to purple, teal next to teal, or or the opposite, right? So, cause it just looks so good. That color combo is like my jam right now. I've been doing it all year. This is why last year the kits have a lot of these colors. This year the kids have a lot of these colors. These are just my colors. And that's the fun thing. Like when you have a color combo that you absolutely love, you can do this with, like I said, pattern paper, other mixed media papers that you've already done. Say you did some and you didn't care for it. You can cut it up and reuse it. You don't have to like just stick to using a background just because you took the time to use it, to make it, right? You can make it what you want it. And that's the fun part that I love about mixed media, is it's all about playing. It's all about being creative, and it's about learning. And then in that learning process, you figure out the techniques that you really like to use, the products that you really like to use, and then in that you can add to your repertoire, right? So so I'm just going to keep going back and forth and just adding more and adding more. And some of them I'm adding the pop dots or foam adhesive so that it sticks up, because like when you have those little small bits, only a little bit is showing, but it's going to show a little bit more if you have part of it lifted or part of it not, right? So if you have one part lifted and one part not lifted, you can create like that dimension and the shadows that you need to create like something really eye-catching. And I have no idea what picture I'm going to use for this layout, because I mean, honestly, this is gorgeous. You probably like, you could do so much with this. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a layout. It could be the cover of an album. You could do so much with this style, and get some like really awesome things. I really want to tuck goodies into here. So, or maybe do like some kind of, ocean or beach layout. I have pictures from, when I went to my church. We do a retreat every year at Cannon Beach, or where we take part in a retreat. That's at Cannon Beach, I should say, because we don't host it. But anyway, and it's so beautiful when you're down at the beach. And then last year, I don't go every single year because some years it's just too hard for me to get out. And this year I'm not able to go because I just have a lot going on. And but the photos of the rock that's there is so beautiful. So that could look really awesome. And we got lucky and had quite a bit of sun this past year. So anyway, so this would be perfect for like an ocean layout or some kind of layout that involves movement, right? So I'm just trying to figure out like, when is this done? Because this, you could work, I've worked a while on this, which is why it's really sped up. And it just takes a while because as you use the foam adhesive, and then I have to take all the backing off because I didn't want to adhere the foam pieces until I knew I had the layers the way that I wanted them to. So this is pretty much it. I'm going to cut it to make it all square again so that it can fit into a 12 by 12 page protector, because that's probably what I'll do with it. But as I mentioned, there's so many different things. And and these are nice, good, sharp scissors. These are newer, so it'll work really well. And I'll just toss those, but like you could keep all those extra bits and pieces for another layout if you wanted to. So you guys need to head over to the group so that you can join in the challenges, because we will highlight all the people who play along. And I can't wait to see you guys there and see what you guys do with layers. See you guys later. Bye.